Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Also, would you your video? Would you like to show your video?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Uh, Hang on.
Let's.
Stay there. Okay.
Hi, Brian.
I,
Okay.
Ramona. Uh,
Okay. Hi.
Oh,
Okay. Let me
Hi,
just
Claire.
move. Ooh.
sit behind me.
Okay.
Sit behind me.
Behind.
Yeah. Okay. And we have Brian. We're testing sound, Brian. Sit down. Have a seat.
Just move the screen.
Have,
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Elizabeth Claire Brewington. We are having some technical difficulties again, but I want to welcome each of you today. We have a featured speaker from the Netherlands, Michael Keet, and he has
then,
written a book on moneyfulness. I want to give you a few housekeeping tips. Make sure that your sound is off. You mute it when he's speaking. When you want to speak, you can raise your hand or put a question in the chat room and then unmute to speak when you're asking a question. So make sure the video, you look good in the video. Make sure you're seated correctly so that we can see you properly. And I hope you enjoyed today. We will begin with Michael. This is the Brightside Club that started
I'll
during
do it. I'll do it.
COVID. And after Michael, we will have a panel discussion moderated by Elton Brewington. And we have Molly Renfro from former BB&T Bank. And we have Alex Nelson, who is with Edward Jones, and we also have Donna Foray with New York Life. So we will listen to Michael for about 20 minutes, and then we'll move into the panel and followed by questions. And I will leave the moderation today to your moderator, Elton Brewington.
All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. So, okay. Just to start to engage, here we are. So, first, let me just thank everybody for participating in today's events and activities. We're delighted to have you all. And among those entries and items of discussion, we are pleased to have among our guest speakers Mr. Michael Keet, and he's a guest journalist, a written book author, Moneyfulness, and he has promised that he will engage us with his experiences and what has inspired him to write such an important literature, important piece of work. And I engage you to listen and also to query your questions, because at the end of our discussion we will have a panel review, and the panel review will we expect to be riveting. Uh, well, whenever you talk about money, I'll tell you the story. I had a friend of mine. Every time they spent money, they got nervous. Always I mean, any significant amounts of money. And so it's good to know when you don't get nervous when you spend money. So, I mean, it's all good. So we're delighted. And so I introduce to you and Mr. Michael Keats. Michael, take the floor. Tell us what you know.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me here. We're going to talk tonight about. Let me put it like this. It's about moneyfulness.
Yeah.
And I'm an author, as you would have guessed, but also I'm a speaker and a trainer in the Netherlands, and I'm also speaking abroad. And I've always also spoken in New York, and in Philadelphia, and in Bahrain, and in Germany, and more places.
Give him a
I'm
round
very
of
proud.
applause. Give him a round of applause. Thank you for joining us, Michael. Thank you so much for being with us. Oh, very good, very good. What was yours?
Okay, thank you. So I just found out that we had also a different author, another author with us, like Ken. And if I tell you this, this book has been published by a traditional publisher in the US, and I'm a Dutch guy. I haven't been published in the US before in English. I have been published in the Netherlands with a Dutch book, but not an English book. And only 13% of the books, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, 13% of all books published in the US is published via a traditional publisher. So it's also available on Amazon, Walmart, all the traditional bookstores.
I don't know what the percentage is, but I know that it's leaning more and more towards independent publishing.
Yeah, yeah. But if you, what I found out is that the advantage of being published by a traditional publisher is that like it's a quality mark or something, because the professionals have read it and said this is okay for the US market.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a certain prestige for sure.
Yeah.
And congratulations
So I'm really
to you. Congratulations also.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not that often that a Dutch unpublished author is published in the US. So unfortunately, I'm not able to travel to the US right now, but I hope after COVID, after September somewhere, I'll be able to travel again. So looking forward to that. Like I said, I've also published a book in Dutch, but that's not that relevant. But I've also did a small ebook, and I published that immediately on Amazon, like what is Moneyfulness? More money, less stress in 10 steps. And that ebook has hit the #1 position on Amazon in its own category. So that's also quite a nice accomplishment, but I'm quite proud of. And if you want to read an independent review from Moneyfulness, from Carol, then you can go to Goodreads, and she published there a nice review. I didn't know her, and she did an extensive review, so I was really happy about that. So, Brightside Global, thanks for having me here. Let me start off by telling a little bit about where I come from. When I was a youngster, I was kicked out of school everywhere. They didn't want to have me. School and I were not a natural match. Let me put it like that. At the age of 21, I spent some time in the army. I have been working in factories. So then you have the lowest income ever. And I survived. But at the age of 21, I had no relevant diploma, no relevant working experience. So somebody labeled me as an underprivileged youngster. That was my luck. That was my pivoting point in life, because that point made me realize I have to do something with my life. So I started studying from nothing at the age of 21. I had no relevant education. 1 year going to school every day, like university or something. And after that, 3 years evening school. Then I got my bachelor degree in finance. Then I started working, because yeah, in the beginning when you're studying, you don't get a job in finance. So I've been working in factories all along. And at the age of 30, I was a finance director from a company that employed over 400 people. So from 21 as being labeled as an underprivileged youngster to the age of 30, like a post-bachelor degree, and being a finance director of a company that employed over 400 people. There was really a shift in the mindset. That shift in mindset and the accomplishment in 9 years from underprivileged to finance director made me realize that your mind is the strongest and the best thing you have in life. So I did that for about 13 or 14 years for several companies, a variety, 200 employees, still 600 employees, usually under the directly reporting to the owner. And then I thought, I want to have my own business. Again, a pivoting point in life. I started out 7.5 years ago thinking, I saw all the entrepreneurs that I've been working with. I know it all. After about a year, I realized I don't know nothing. So then I started taking some trainings, some marketing, sales. There were, if you're from finance, and I was more operational finance, and marketing and sales, it's complete opposite. So I started doing the trainings, but also entrepreneurial trainings, a lot of different ones, but also the personal development trainings. like NLP, Enneagram, 9-star key, but also mindfulness. That was key to me. I've been studying mindfulness for some more time. I even became a certified mindfulness coach. What I didn't mention was about 7.5 years ago, my own company was a software company and accounting and tax offices. Accounting tax office is okay, but the software, after 5 years, there became a problem. There was a key supplier who was doing the development and the research and the development for my software, and we didn't match anymore. So he wanted to have huge amounts, thousands of dollars, from me. About 2.5 years ago, I hit rock bottom because the key supplier, the one who was developing and maintaining my software, just billed me for over $50,000, $60,000. So I got in privately also in debt, because at that time I wasn't emotionally ready to let my company go bankrupt. So it was I really hit rock bottom. There was no way out. If you hit rock bottom, you start realizing things. When I was a finance director, income. When I was in debt, because my key supplier just almost killed me, I had almost no stress about money. I started wondering, how is that possible? When I was working as an employee, huge income, and I was really stressed about losing my job, because if you lose your job, you lose your income, you lose your house, whatever. That was really stressful. And now I'm an entrepreneur, $60,000, $70,000 in debt, hardly any stress. Then you start doing the thinking process and everything. And then I realized that it's the mindfulness, NLP, Enneagram, 9-star key, all the personal development trainings I also attended that helped me setting my mind the right way, that I don't experience the stress about finance. That was really something that was an eye-opener. How the shift that happened in the past years. That was about 2.5 years ago. Within it, then I just wrote the book. It was just like typing. In a couple of months, the book was ready. It was really phenomenal. Just writing 1.5, 2 hours a day. But then if you write longer than 1.5, 2 hours, for me at least, your head is empty. Then you can't write anymore. But if you continue doing it every day for 5 days a week, within a couple of months, you'll have your book finished. Then I thought, how do I get a publisher in the US? That's the next struggle. About 2 years ago, I started writing and emailing and calling several publishers in the US. A lot of publishers I called about or written somewhere between 50 or 60 publishers. About 10 or 15 reacted, like they were serious in, what is it? What do you do? Tell me what you want. Some calls, but eventually at the end of the day, they all said, sorry, we're not going to do it. Most of the times because in the Netherlands or in the US, I didn't have somewhere between 50 and 100,000 followers on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever. And I said, how can I get to a publisher? Because I really wanted that mark from a publisher. That was really because I didn't know much about the US market. And how if it was okay for that for American people to read Moneyfulness, because yeah, I'm a Dutch guy. Then I went to some free event about speaking and public speaking in Amsterdam at the end of September, almost 2 years ago right now. And then the organizer said, you know, I'm organizing an event early November in LA. There are a lot of promoters over there, a lot of people over there, 2,500 people. You have to get there. You'll find someone. Before that, I've never been to the US. So I thought, what can happen? Just way out of my comfort zone, book the plane, book a hotel, and go there. It's a 6-day event with a lot of networking every day. It starts 8 a.m. until 9 or 10 p.m. So there were really long days with a lot of networking. So I didn't know anybody. I got there the first day, started networking, and from one led me to another, led me to another, led me to another. And eventually, on day number 6, in the afternoon, I spoke to someone for about 10 or 15 minutes. He said, okay, this is interesting. We're going to have a call like this, a Zoom call or a Skype. That was a Skype call. In 2 weeks. I said, okay, yes. Besides the other all interesting contacts, this was the key contact. We had a Skype call. 2 weeks later, we had again a Skype call. Then he said, you got something. I'm going to introduce you to my publisher, because he also wrote 2 books. We had a call with the publisher and another call and another call and another call. And eventually he said, please send me the manuscript. I'll have it read by 5 people. If all 5 people say, it's okay, it's well written, it's done well, it's okay, then we're going to publish it. And so it happened a little over a year ago. It was end of January, a year ago. We signed a book contract, then you have the editor with a couple of months, then the proofreading, then you design the cover, the interior, the back of the book, and then it's October, and then you have the first copy of the book in your hands. Then with that copy, they go to the Walmart, the Barnes & Noble, and all other possible bookstores. And then the official release date was already set over a year ago in April this year. But back then, we didn't know about the COVID-19 or the coronavirus. So yeah, I don't know if it's, I'm still not sure whether it's a good moment or it's a bad moment. Unfortunately, I was hoping to be in the US right now. That's not possible. But a lot of people are considering their finances right now. So that's the opposite. So that's my way to writing a book, how I got to the publisher and all the hurdles I had to overcome. What I also want to add is that 10% of all income from Moneyfulness, whether it's an online program, because I have a shorter online program and an extensive online program, and of course my book, 10% of all income, not profits, but income, is donated to charity that fights poverty. And why is that? Because I want to end stress about the finances everywhere from everybody. Everybody is impossible, but money is the one thing that stresses out most people. That's basically my road to Moneyfulness. But let me also tell you a little bit more about Moneyfulness. Moneyfulness consists of 2 major parts. Sorry. The first part is the mindset part. How is your mindset? Where is your mindset coming from? How do people think and behave with money? For example, usually it takes a couple of generations for a belief system to get out of a family or to get in of a family. It can get in of a family in 1 generation, but it takes a couple of generations to get it out. I recently spoke to someone in a workshop who had his mother lost her father in a very early age. Her mother just said, fuck it, I'm going to spend every money I have, live a day. So she brought up her daughter also with the belief system, fuck it, spend every dollar you have, live your life. And then she started telling that to her son again. So that's more a couple of generations, with one generation to shift a belief system, and it takes generations to get out of the family. So I want you to think about the phrases your parents always, or the ones who brought you up, that told you. What did they say about money? What were their convictions? And how are their convictions influencing your life? And whether it's only your parents or your grandparents or even further back, that's okay. But let's start with your parents. That's one of the key items. Another one is the lottery winners. A lot of people who win the lottery, and I mean really win a lottery, over $1 million, 80% of all people that win the lottery are back to a job, a daytime job, to earn a living in a period from 3 to 5 years. What happened to the money? Last time we spoke about 4 money types. That's one of the key items in explaining why that happens. There are very few people where their parents tell you how to handle money, how to behave with money, how to think about money. Even in a lot of households, they're not even speaking about money. And the funny thing is, everybody has an opinion about money. Nobody tells you, and everybody has an opinion. It's funny. And at schools, they don't teach you about money. Yes, you got economics at school, finance, accounting. Yes, all those things you can learn at school. But managing your own wallet is not handled at school. That's funny. Because now we're coming to the second portion in Moneyfulness, and it's actually counting. We got the bank management system in it. It's how to set money aside for a buffer, how to invest money so you have multiple streams of income, how to, and I dare you to take a look into your bank account, because your bank account is the exact mirror of your financial behavior. You can exactly see what is your behavior financially. So you have to calculate as well. And also there's kindness in it, and then being nice, kind to yourself, because you don't have to punish yourself for every wrong dollar you spend, but also be kind to other ones. That's what I already mentioned also about the 10% donation to charity that fights poverty. So that's about the 20 minutes.
No, yeah,
So,
it is. That's good.
Let me give you one takeaway, and then I'm hoping to hear some more questions. I want to end financial stress all over the world, everywhere. But don't let anybody define you by how much money you have or how much money you make. Be defined by the happiness you give to others. And all I ask you is, when you reach that number of happiness and you know what level of happiness that is, that you give back to someone else, because that's how we make this world a better place. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm looking forward to answering some questions if anybody has some.
Very good, Michael. Thank you so much, too. Please give Michael.
Sir, you may need to unmute yourself there.
Yeah.
Unmute. Okay.
Somewhere I'm muted.
Elton, you're on
you,
mute.
Elton.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I unmuted that. The last thing I said was thanks, so Michael. I mean, you look pretty handsome for someone who has gone to the School of Hard Knocks with your school perspectives. But we appreciate those comments, and a couple of questions that have come up, and we're going to query those. And I want to, stress, as you put it, what a great direction is that you're not to be judged by your money, but the character, personality, and your true ambitions. I mean, oftentimes we have to resist those implications of what you're worth and your value based on money. Your value is much superior to whatever money you have, and you have to experience and really come to know that your true value is your true value. It's not about how much money you have, but you can't use that as a crutch to keep you from being all that you can be. So thank you very much.
What you
So
can
at
do
this
with
point,
your
just
money, with your
before,
time, and others.
say again, say again.
Everything you can do to help others with your time or your money. Both are very, very important.
Very good, very good. So are there any questions for Michael? You can post them on chat
Yeah.
and we'll explore those. We got 3 questions, I think, already. Let's see. Hello, everyone. The question was, hello, everyone. I wanted to welcome. Oh, no, that wasn't a question. Okay. Linda made a comment about parents start money belief systems as children. I think you touched on that and how relevant that is. And what have you found that really disputes, or what have you found that is the best tool to overcome the implications that parents have laid out, or family members, about money?
There are 2 things: is what you want to tell your children and how you want to educate them. But if you want to help them in the future with their mindset and belief system, you have to start thinking about your own past. Because when, for example, the brain is from the moment you're born until you're 8, 9 years old, has not ability to think critical. So it's only absorbing. If your parents keep on telling, for example, money is the root of all evil, it comes into your brain. It becomes so on autopilot. Your thoughts are on autopilot immediately. So it takes a very long time. It's very hard to remember it, even to remember it when you're a grown up. What did my parents always say about money? It's a really hard task for everyone to find out. What did they say? Because there are so many thoughts on autopilot, you don't even realize what you're saying. Like a lot of people are just saying out when someone says A, they automatically say whoop, B, without thinking. And that's the same thing what your parents told you about money. The neural pathways are so wide, you don't even think what you say. So if you have a hard time finding it out, just ask your spouse, your family, your close friends, what do I always say about money? If you can't remember or don't think about it, or it's an autopilot. If you have your own mindset, convictions in place, then it's a better opportunity to start teaching your children.
Okay.
Is that a little bit an answer to your question?
Okay.
Or did I misunderstand?
That was from, I don't know who that was from, Linda. Now, Ramona had a comment about financial freedom, and just if you respond, just a real short response, because we have to move to the panel. But financial freedom is a key determinant of happiness. When one experiences financial freedom, one feels unfettered and better able to serve others. Just a brief comment about that, and we go next to the panel.
Yes, it's easier if you're financially free to help and make this world a little bit better. But if you do the right calculation, and the amount itself is of no importance. If you only donate $1 a week to charity, it makes endorphin in your blood, in your hormones. It makes you more happy. Only if it's $1 a week. So I suggest you start making the world only a little better as of today, instead of waiting till you're financially free, because that may take a long time.
Very good.
Short
Very good.
enough?
Thank you. Very good. Thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate that. And now we move to the next sector of our discussions, which is a panel discussion. And we have some very distinguished panelists with us today. And we're going to engage on a variety of subject matter articles. I want to introduce the panel members who are going to be speaking with us and sharing from their point of view. And I'll introduce you. And then if you will, did I answer your question, Ramona?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good, very
And
good.
basically it is taking baby steps. So $1 a day is great. Dollar a day is great. Starbucks
Right.
coffee costs more.
Okay, very good, very good. We'll come back to your comments in this panel discussion, actually. But first among our speakers is Miss Molly Winfro there. Miss Molly Winfro.
You have to unmute
Okay.
yourself.
Okay, and also Miss Donna Foray will be joining us for this panelist discussion. And I'm gonna, we'll ask each of you to unmute, and then we'll have you to give an opportunity to introduce yourself briefly, and we'll get into the subject matter. And also, Mr. Alex Nelson from Edward Jones. Are you
Good
there, Mr. Jones?
afternoon.
Good, good, good. Thank you for joining us. And I will be your distinguished panelist or collaborator with you. And so let me make sure everyone who is going to be on is on, and that you unmute, please, at this time. Please unmute. And just count present when, and make sure we see your face. Make sure that your video's available so we can look at you. It's awesome to see people's faces so far away. That way, we have a couple of internationals with us. We have 3 internationals today. Of course, Michael, our keynote speaker. Also, Mr. Brian, who's in India. 2, I'm sorry, just 2. And okay, but we have some very interesting articles to talk about. So let us begin. Miss Molly Renfro, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Very
I'm
good.
here.
Thank you for joining us. We're so happy to have you. And Miss Winfro is a distinguished banker, a bank manager, and she knows about banking and those kind of procedures. And we're just happy to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Very good, very good. Anything you want to share with us about yourself?
It's an exciting time now to talk about money because everybody is stressed out about not being able to be in contact with people, and you're spending money on things that you probably didn't before. And you're also having to think about how long your money has to last. So now's a good time to talk about how to be mindful about your money and what
Very
you're
good.
thinking and doing.
Very good. Thank you, Miss Winfro. Miss Donna Foray, are you there, Donna? Miss Donna Foray? We'll come back. I'm sure you are. I see you here. Mr. Alex Nelson. Mr. Nelson is an Edward Jones manager, and he manages assets for people through an investment portal. Mr. Jones, we're so happy to have you. Would you share with us a few things about you and your personal objectives when it comes to helping customers with their bank portfolios?
Absolutely. So I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones, born and raised in Clayton, North Carolina. Happy to see you all on the call today, and thanks for having me. You know, growing up, I had a little lawn mowing business, and every penny I made, I put away in a bank account. And one morning I woke up, walked downstairs, and asked my mother for the name and phone number of her Edward Jones financial advisor. Saw that money grow over many years, and senior year of college, my family's advisor called me and said, Alex, I know you have a passion for investing and you love building personalized relationships. So with that being said, I think you'd be a great fit at our firm. And so now I get to sit on the other side of the table and encourage, enable, and empower other people with their money, and do so by helping them create a strategy based on their goals, their time horizon, and their risk tolerance.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. That's so valuable, Mr. Nelson. And Miss Donna Foray, are you there? I'm sure she's there. I see her listed. but maybe there are technical issues that are in the way. So let's just tag along, and you can join us as you were. So the key panelists, of course, Michael, Alex, Molly, and myself, and Donna will join us momentarily. So a couple of things that I want to engage in, and which, of course, I was inspired by Michael's book that helps us get an understanding of moneyfulness. I mean, you asked the question, how much money is enough? You know, and what comes to my mind is more. Not just enough, more. Just get more. So I want to place this out to our panelists to talk about from the standpoint of, I mean, many people don't feel or realize that they can generate wealth, you know, and what that really means. You know, some people will consider wealth as being able to pay all your bills and have a little put aside, you know, okay, that's fine. Some people might consider wealth as having money, that having enough money to pay your bills, have great credit, and save some. And other people consider, okay, having real wealth is, of course, all of the first two, plus building real asset value. Building real asset value. So I put this to the panel members. When you sit down with bankers and looking at money and evaluating these things, the key principles that you think are important for everyone to consider, and how do you begin to think about this kind of thing? And I'll start with you, Michael, since you share more readily the
I
value.
think you should unmute the phone from 91993. There's a lot of sound coming from there.
Say again?
Oh, now it's quiet again.
Okay.
I don't know who it is with the phone number, the 1919344.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of
Esther,
coming from.
Esther, your sound seems muted or not hearable so well. So, did you have a question, Esther?
No, there was just a lot of sound coming from. I couldn't hear you anymore. So.
Okay. Okay, Esther, could you mute, please? Esther, could you mute?
She did right now, I think.
Okay. Okay. So the question was, of course, do I need to repeat that? The question was, okay. The question was that we were looking at the definition for wealth and assets, and people saying what is enough and moneyfulness. I began by saying I think of more. Moneyfulness is more. Wealth is more. Having enough. And the definitions being, some people think that they're wealthy if they can pay all their bills. Some people think themselves to be wealthy if they can pay their bills and put some money aside. And of course, I engage that, you know, wealth, of course, and also building wealth from putting money into assets that grow value as a third tier. But importantly enough, I mean, when you consider wealth being paying all your bills, also having great credit, also having savings and money put aside, and fourth tier is the investing assets so that you can grow to a considerable stasis point. So I handed it off to you, Michael, with that, and then we'll bring in Alex and Molly and also Donna.
Yeah. Okay, let me state that for moneyfulness, for a lot of people, I cannot tell where it's 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 10 million, or whatever amount it is. When you're feeling free to do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, with whom you want. So let me start up front with that. If you like living in a cabin somewhere in the hills, then your life is less expensive than when you're living in Manhattan in New York, for example. So there's a different way in lifestyle. What I think when you really reach that level, then that you don't have to worry about money. And like I said, it's for the amount itself is different for everybody. When you don't have to worry about money anymore. And some people don't worry about money when they have 500,000 in the bank or invested. Some people need 1 or 2 million to feel free to do whatever they want, whenever they want, with whom, and so on. If you ask me personally, and I have not reached that level yet, but I'm, like I said, 2.5 years ago, I had debt from almost $70,000. The debt is gone already, and I'm building and I'm investing as well. mostly on the stock market. That's what I like most. That suits me. But if you ask me for my level, then it'll be somewhere around 4 or 5 million. Above that, it just makes me feel more at ease. But that's also to do with my money type, like we talked about last time. If you are a saver, you just need to save more to feel more secure. Then the amount is never enough, because you can never have enough security.
Yeah, yeah, very good, great comment. Okay, Mr. Alex, your comments and descriptions about that, please.
Sure, thank you. You know, I think it's important that we as humans have goals. And a goal down on paper is a lot more likely to be achieved than one that is not. And so when I think about setting a goal in terms of retirement or anything else financial, it's really should be revolving around what's most important to you. Is leaving a legacy to the kids and grandkids most important to us? Is, you know, being able to have a week at the beach with our family most important to us in retirement? These kinds of questions need to be asked, and the strategies need to be implemented to create that goal revolving around, again, what's most important to us. And when we do that, we're more likely to achieve the goal by having a portfolio that's tailored to our goals, our risk tolerance, and our time horizon. So I think strategies are important, and it needs to go beyond just having simply money in an account.
Very good. Thank you so much for that. Very good asset. And Ms. Winfrey, your perspectives, please.
The average person has not been trained to manage their money. Their money manages them. So it is a challenge that they have to set some goals. They have to be conscious of the money that comes in and what they do with it, and have a purpose for it. I found that when people have a purpose for whatever money, whatever level they're at, they are more content with themselves that, yes, I've accomplished this. And eventually, if money is a goal, they will get there. But you've got to start with training yourself that this is important, that this is how I'm going to get there. And that journey includes practicing on a regular basis what money means to you and how you handle it.
Very good, very good. Miss Forey.
Hey, Elton, how's everybody doing today?
Doing great, great. Thanks for joining us.
Sorry that my video and audio weren't able to work together today, so I'm just going to join you guys by phone. So I want to just point out a few things that I've been sharing with my own clients. I work for the oldest life insurance company in America called New York Life. And here's some things that I've been sharing with them that hopefully, you know, will be helpful for this discussion. So the first thing I've been telling people when I talk to them, because people are very concerned right now, both while they've been surviving the pandemic and then coming out of it, is don't do anything that you're going to regret with your money or your investments right now. Don't do any panic selling. You don't want to raid your 401k right now. You just need to kind of stay focused, like some of the other folks have been mentioning, and don't do anything too drastic. The market will recover and your portfolios will get stronger, but you just have to be really patient and hang in there. The other thing, and I think one of the other speakers was really good about this, is if you haven't started or if you have a small cash reserve, you really need to focus on that right now, because having a good cash reserve is going to get you through the next rough months with either your business reopening or just your family getting back to normal, or things just getting on a different track. So if you haven't started one, get into a habit of putting money in a savings account or some kind of safe place and keep it growing. And then you need to really look, and I believe Michael mentioned this, you need to look at your bank account and see where's your money going. If you're spending a lot of things on wants versus needs, then you need to focus on those wants and figure out, can I do less of something that I'm spending a lot of money on? Like, here's an example. A lot of us couldn't go out to eat the last few months. We couldn't go to a restaurant. So take the money that you've been saving by not eating out and put that money aside. Put that into savings, because obviously we should have some money that we've been saving from certain things we weren't able to do, whether it's going out to eat or going to movies or, you know, a lot of things that we weren't able to do. So take advantage of those savings and put them in a bank right now. Also, if you're able to do so, I don't want you to stop your 401k contributions, but at least decrease your monthly contributions by a little bit. That'll put a little bit of extra money towards your bills, and it won't, completely damage your 401k. But if you can do so, just reduce them a little bit, your monthly contributions, until, your finances improve. And then at least you won't be raiding your 401k. If you have to, use credit cards to pay your routine bills, but just make sure that they're low interest credit cards. If you're a business owner, okay, and someone else mentioned this as well, this is a great time for you to focus on your goals for your business or even for your family going forward out of this, right? So as a business owner, it'd be a wonderful time to do a business relaunch, because maybe your buildings were closed, or maybe your business couldn't open during COVID, but now you're coming out and you're going to have the storefront open again or the restaurant open again. So get the local chamber of commerce, or just do your own reopening, kind of do a big event, almost like a party, and invite the public down to come back and shop with you again. And I think you'll get a lot of interest in doing something like that, because people want to get back out now, right? And someone else mentioned, I think it was Michael, people don't like talking about finances. Even when I sit down with my clients and we're going through their accounts and what they have with New York Life, people get nervous talking about their money. But as a family, right, we have to talk about money. We have to get it out there, and we have to be honest with where we are financially. So I would say, if you're a family or a business owner, be honest about your finances and just deal with the fact that some of them aren't great, but they're going to get better, right? And lastly, and I believe the gentleman that's the financial advisor mentioned this as well, it is super important right now for all of us to set goals and be serious about it. If you were a business owner at the end of 2019 and you had a great year, you probably had some very aggressive goals for 2020, and you had all kinds of visions of how much growth your business is going to have. Obviously, that probably didn't happen during the pandemic unless, you work for Walmart or Target. But the rest of us have had to really struggle if we're small business owners, which is what I am. Okay. So take some time and step back, re-engineer your goals, and then, let's just get past the pandemic for the next month or two when we go to stage 3. And like I say, just throw a party and reopen your business and invite your clients in, and just kind of pretend like it's a restart and develop those new goals and just put yourself back out there. Anyway, I hope this was helpful.
Very good. Thank you so much, Donna. That was importantly insightful. According to all of your contributions, I'm hearing some various dynamics in relationship to what we're trying to establish. What I see is important is, of course, building great habits and letting old and bad habits go away. And they have to do with, used to be when you thought, oh, I've got $1 million, I've made it. That may not be the case. But I need us to talk a little bit about building great habits, and also, what that means in terms of, even when it comes to paying bills, we have to get into the habit. Bills come in, and you've saved enough that you can pay those bills. Pay those bills, those credit cards. Now, I'll tell you a little bit. I had a situation a few years ago, and I'm still trying to bounce back from this. We had a supplier that went out of business, and to the tune of it left me with a empty space holding $100,000 debt. And I don't know too many organizations that could just suck and absorb that up. But it taught me a valuable lesson that you do have to build on 4 key territories: building credit, savings, and building wealth, for me personally. Now, that means, somebody, my father-in-law used to say, and is Mr. Bandari on the call? There's a Mr. Bandari that was in business with my father-in-law. And, and he used to say, if you want to raise, get more customers. From my point of view, if you want to get a raise, get more customers. So I'm putting this to the speakers out there in terms of the dynamics of, when you're making decisions about, bills, building credit, because all of these things they'll be involved at the same time. You're juggling 5 balls at the same time. and how do you do it? Are there strategic initiatives that work? And I think this is relevant for you. Just comment on that if you will be. It's not a right and wrong answer, but it helps us get an understanding of setting great practices in order. We'll go with Michael first, and then the same order as before. Michael, Alex, Molly, and Donna.
Within Moneyfulness, we have bank management, as in managing your money in a practical way. The B stands for buffer, and there are two different kinds of buffer. One is you have to be afloat without any income for a period from 6 to 9 months, because you can't prevent things happening in your life, and most people bounce back, need some time to bounce back from an event in life for 6 to 9 months maximum. Then you should have your thing back on the road. And the other one is for the larger expenses. If you're a homeowner, you have to have some reservations for the roof because it still goes for 5 years. The kitchen needs to be replaced in 7 years, and that's the second part of the buffer for the larger expenses. The A stands for assets, investing in things that bring you money, not the house at the sea that you want to go every weekend, because that doesn't bring you any money. But if you have an apartment somewhere and you rent it out to someone else, then it's making some cash flow, cash inflow, more important. Then you have to check your normal expenses, the N from bank management, because if you go through your bank statement, there are so many small amounts written off of your bank account for all kinds of subscriptions. That's the snake of today, because all those $10, $20, $50 a month, they just, that's only $10, it's only $20 a month. And you have 10, 20 of those amounts, it starts adding up. Just please go through your bank account and check for all those automatic withdrawals. And a case for kindness, being kind to yourself and to others, making this world a better place. That's basically in a minute the bank management system from Moneyfulness. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Alex.
Your sound.
A couple of quick things that I would add to that is setting things up systematically. So for example, if I've got a client who is over 50, they can contribute $7,000 a year to an IRA account and invest that money. So coming out on a monthly basis, that'd be about $580 that would come out from their bank account to the IRA account. So in terms of forming habits, I think systematic contributions to retirement accounts is very impactful. If you're in retirement, systematic withdrawals can also be helpful as well. So you're not pulling things out all at once when the market could be down potentially. Second piece I would say is every Sunday, me personally, I go in and I've got a budget spreadsheet. And so I go in and look at my statement for the week, my transactions for the week, and make those into my spreadsheet, put them into my spreadsheet so I know exactly where the money's going and how it's working for me.
Very good. Thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate that. And Ms. Molly Renfro?
I would say one thing is that too many people think that they are going to die in debt. And that's something they need to erase from their mindset, is that I'm going to die in debt. You can live contently on what you make if you do the things that Mike and Alex are recommending. Set a budget, look where your money is going, make it work for you and not work for the money. So erase that from your mindset that I've got to die in debt.
Okay, great. And Donna?
One thing I wanted to share is, a lot of companies right now are willing to help people that have been displaced financially and, because of their jobs. For example, I just want to point out one quick thing that New York Life did, and I'm sure a lot of companies did this too. And I know a lot of people got rebates from their car insurance companies and, and that was a big help. So when March hit and New York Life knew that people were losing their jobs, they actually told I told my clients this, that they could take up to 2.5 months of not paying a premium for their life insurance. 2.5 months. So I have some people right now that I'm now sitting down with this week that are catching up their premiums. They haven't paid a premium since the beginning of April, okay? And New York Life waived all those premiums, okay, for 3 months. Now they're telling, and I can tell my clients this, which is awesome, good news, you know, you can pay back that missing premium that you weren't able to afford because you lost your job or your hours were greatly reduced. You can pay it back over a 12-month time period. So imagine that you're a waitress, your business closed, okay, you haven't had any income for months, but your life insurance stayed in force all that time without one penny. And now you're back to work, your restaurant has reopened, and you can pivot and repay the life insurance that you missed for 3 months and space it out over a 12-month period. So New York Life did a phenomenal thing. And I think there's other companies willing to work with people that had their lives upended by the pandemic. Their business may have been severely affected or their family was severely affected. So I just encourage people, you know, to find those opportunities that may be out there to help you get back on your feet, either as a family or as a business. In addition to all the opportunities that have been made available through the legislation that was passed, there's individual companies and banks and lending institutions that are doing tremendous opportunities to help people. For example, I know some banks and lending institutions are really making overtures to people to extend lines of credit to them, both as families and both for business owners. So if your business got pretty damaged during the pandemic, you might find your local bank that you've been working with for years might give you a very, very favorable rate on a line of credit to help you get back to business. So I just think there's opportunities out there to look into with your local companies to see how they can help you. Yeah, I hope that's useful.
Very good. Thank you, Donna. Now, I want to explore some of our audience questions and give people who are on the line an opportunity to ask. If you have direct questions you want comments from or that kind of thing, please show your video. And I want to recognize also to Mr. Brian, our only caller overseas, or with Michael, that if you have a question for our audience.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was very impressed with the suggestions given by all the speakers, especially the one who talked about the business for entrepreneurs and those who just started out. It's been a challenge because especially those who've started business probably just a year back and with great hopes and projections and where there isn't much of saving or budget, you know, to survive on whether for the next few months, you know. So for that, actually, you know, this is a very, very, I would say, difficult time. And so the advice given, of course, is okay. What you did till 2019, you could survive on that, you know, for a few months, and then approach your bank or your financial institution for some more aid. But when you don't have a past record and where you don't have much saving, how does one find you know, avenues to survive over the next few months? Because this is something which many new entrepreneurs are facing at the moment. I hope my question was.
Is that directed to anybody in particular, or just to audience?
Yeah, but maybe I forgot the lady who's not visible. I mean, I heard her last, who just spoke. I didn't get her name.
Before. Donna?
Yeah, right. Donna.
So the question revolves around how to get through the next few months until business is back on its feet. Yeah, right. I think that this is one of those, and I think, Michael, you pointed it out really well. You're going to have to look inside of your current account and figure out where am I spending money that I shouldn't be spending money? Where can I economize? A lot of people are still spending money as if it wasn't the pandemic. I'll just be honest with you, because I sit down with my clients every week and we have to have this conversation. So you have to find ways to economize within your budget, whether you're a family or business owner, right? And for business owners, they've gone through a very traumatic, I mean, even for myself, it's been a traumatic few months. to see my business really tank and not have the growth that I expected to have. So I've had to re-engineer my goals. I've had to figure out some ways to economize within my business. I took advantage of the savings I had because I wasn't traveling hours and hours each day to commute to work or visit with my clients that are spread across Virginia and North Carolina. I could take that money and put it back into some things with my business that I needed to do going forward. So I think there's ways to economize either as a family or even as a business owner. Take the funds that we weren't spending on travel and on entertainment and on dining out and on all the things that were at one time a big part of our business or our family's way of doing business, and put those into the money we need to go forward for a month or two until things are back on track. And like I said, some banks might be willing to work with a business owner in particular to give them a very favorable interest rate on a line of credit to get their business relaunched or to cover them temporarily while they try and emerge from the COVID and get their employees back. You know, we're going to have a lot of people that have been on unemployment for quite a long time. And we need to entice those people back into the work environment. So there's going to be a real delicate situation for business owners to get those former employees to come back into the workforce, even though they've been, you know, doing okay on the assistance they've gotten from unemployment and sources like that. So it's a challenge for a business owner, but I also think it's a great opportunity. Like I said, if I was a small business owner out there and I've had to either reduce my hours or unfortunately if I had to close my business, this would be a perfect time as we enter phase 3, and most businesses can now be open, you know, as much as possible, to just kind of invite their clients in for a kind of a grand reopening and show people I'm here, I'm open again. You know, I want all my clients to come in. I want, you know, new people to come in and see who I am, and just turn it into just a great, you know, refresh, a reboot of your business and go forward like that. And I think that a lot of business owners will do well because people are going to start getting out and shopping more. So did that answer the question, Michael,
Yes.
or not?
Yes.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Donna.
Okay.
I want to
Thanks.
check if my sound is working. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good.
Yes, we can.
Okay. To add to what everyone said, Brian, is that the big thing that entrepreneurs have versus corporates is resilience and perseverance. And being an entrepreneur now for almost 17 years and surviving all kinds of things, I think the big thing is first you want to check your inventory. And if you do have inventory, you want to get rid of it. So you want to offer a sale or a promotion and get money out. Because most entrepreneurs will sit on inventory and they will not be working towards getting money coming in. So the first thing is to look at all the channels that you can actually get money coming in, and marketing, absolutely. The internet is here, Facebook, LinkedIn, some of these things are free, and you might want to get more customers. That is the key in this terrible COVID. You can't stop and think about the problems. You have to keep running. As I always say, put on your shoes and keep running. So Michael, this question is actually for you, because one of the things that impressed me about the book was the whole idea.
You can't hear you, Claire. Can't.
We lost you.
Can't hear you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as we're moving around, and I know we're running short on time, let us do this. There's one comment, and that I'd like to engage in, is that whatever business you're in, it costs money to get into that business. If there's a new direction you're trying to engage, it's going to cost some resources to engage it. If you're looking at real estate and buying property, it will cost you real estate to engage.
One thing?
And
There
the
was
objective
the remark from the lady that
okay,
having
okay.
the new launches.
Okay, no, sure. Go ahead.
About the new launches and everything, and it doesn't always have to cost any money or very little money to launch a new business idea. Like I also used the COVID time to write a smaller book, a second book. I only wrote it in Dutch. I have to translate it into English, but that'll be the next step. That's Who's the Boss, You or Money? It's not a huge book, but it's also a book. I just used my time, and I'm launching it in the Netherlands in 3 weeks approximately. So it's got a whole new kind of traffic going towards Moneyfulness. People buying the book, people buying online trainings, programs, and everything. So that's what I love about that comment. Sorry for the interruption. Back to you, Elton.
No, not at all. It was apropos. I did want, I know Alex had to go. Are you still there, Alex? I have to ask a question and comment on this? I think he's gone. Are you
He's
still
gone, I
there?
think.
Okay, so now I'm going to wrap this up. And I really want to, I mean, I think this was engaging. And I will maybe, let's see, are there anyone else with other questions that are relevant to what we're talking about? Because we really have great expectations for everybody on the call. And thank all the panelists for being a part of this. Mr. Ken, do you have anything to say that you'd like to add?
It was very interesting. When I speak here on July 22nd, I'll be talking a lot more about how to get published. So, so a lot of what Michael talked about today about his own experience, I'll be going into that on my end, talking about both ways to publish, either traditionally, which is the way Michael did it, through another publisher, or else independently, meaning doing it on your own. So there are pros and cons, and I'll be talking about that.
Okay. Thank you so much for that,
Hey,
Ken.
Elton.
Absolutely.
Hey, Elton, it's Donna.
Who? Who's
Can I
that?
add one more fast thought? Do you mind?
Okay.
Okay. And I believe it was Molly Renfro that brought it up. Molly, were you the one that mentioned about educating children, or was that somebody else? That may have been Linda. But anyway, somebody mentioned the importance of children getting educated about finances at a young age. And Michael mentioned it as a mindset within a family. For those of you listening, with either your family or within your business, educate the people in your family about finances. I actually sit down with families when they have accounts with New York Life, and I invite the children to be part of the discussion rather than them playing in their room. I say, let's bring them out and tell them about your life insurance and about your financial products you have and how that works as a family and how that helps the family out. And the children get like a mini education on what's going on with the family's finances just because I came and did an annual review with the family. And I think it's important that children be involved in those discussions from a young age. We don't give kids a lot of credit, but they really pick up on a lot more than we give them credit for, right? And so I think it's important that they be part of those discussions at an early age. Don't just, keep everything between mom and dad, but involve the kids, whether it's a good discussion or you have to tell them the news that, hey, mom and dad's jobs got affected by the pandemic, but we're going to be doing a lot better soon. But, right now, we can't afford going out a lot or doing a lot of the vacations we used to do because, our salaries were decreased. So it's good to have those discussions as a family. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. We've got to educate kids about finances early on.
Well said, well said. And we're just at the close here, and I really appreciate everyone for participating and being a part of this. And please remember Ken's his participation next week for this call. And we want and invite all engagements, all areas, and all support. And we're going to probably be sending more and more things out regarding those. But I mean, this important dialogue was essential about building wealth. I do want to recognize anybody else. Miss Winfro, we want to close this out, but we want to make sure everybody has the last statement if possible. So let everybody who's on the panel have the last statement, and then we'll close. Miss Renfro, Mr. Alex, I don't know if he's there, and Michael and Donna, just briefly, please, and then we'll probably conclude things. Thanks. But go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak about money. Mindfulness is very important for all of us, and it is a good time to reinvent our investments in ourselves, which is our money, how we think about it, how we handle it, and how we look to the future.
Nice quilt, too.
Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Keats, no, Alex, is he available? Okay. Mr. Keats?
Just nothing to add anymore. Just don't be defined by how much money you make or how much money you have. That's all I want to say.
One thing as a close, and then we'll wrap. You made a point about someone who wins the lottery, and 10 years later, their money's gone, and which speaks to a principle of living now and not thinking about tomorrow, and letting that money build the foundation for greater wealth down the road. We think it's only now, 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 and which of course, I mean, we have to engage more detailed principles about our habits and what we do with our wealth now to grow wealth for the future. So I really enjoyed your comments about that. I thought that was so apropos and fruitful that way. So I want any other comments or questions right now?
I would just say, Elton, I think everybody needs to stay positive. We're about to enter phase 3, most of the states, and it's just a very positive time, and I hope everybody can stay healthy and that we don't have a spike in cases. But just stay the course. Don't get upset. Your finances will come back, and we're all going to be stronger and better for this. And like Claire said, entrepreneurs are resilient people by trade. So we're going to come out of this and be a lot stronger as a community and as a country and as a world. So.
Very good, very good. And so with that, I do want to thank you all. As much as I try to make sure I engage everybody, last word, Ramona. Say what you need to ask or comment on with this. Ramona? Your sound. You're on mute.
I was going to say that resilience is the key, as well as thinking outside the box, being creative at this time.
Okay, very good. Very
Amen.
good.
Amen.
Well said. Well said. Miss Claire, you close us out. Oh, I'm sorry. No, okay. You can come in here if you want. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Technical issues. You don't know how fruitful this is, and all of the callers that came in that were supportive. We thank you all, and let us really start to think about what will it take now to get us, down after post-corona. Post-corona, what will we need to have, and what will we need to do? Miss Priscilla, you're on your iPad. You have a comment or question? You can unmute. Unmute. Okay. All right. And Miss Linda, a comment or question?
No, I'd just like to say this has been very informative and valuable, and I appreciate every one of the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I think that's
God
all.
God bless all of you, and I love you.
Miss Esther, say
God bless,
please.
God bless all of you, and I love you.
We love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. With that being said, I'm real prayerful. I'm thankful that you all have participated, and it's a cordial insight on the future, and we will have more dynamics and dialogues like this, but of course, bringing us all together so that at the end of the day, everybody can win. Everybody can win, and a bright and shining tomorrow. We appreciate you. I appreciate all that you do, and keep working. Keep working. We see what you do, and we will too. So please be encouraged. And if you have any questions or comments or considerations regarding Brightside Promotions, don't hesitate to reach out. We're just a phone call, email, and a Zoom call away. All the best. Godspeed. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elton. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everybody. God bless.
Everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Stay safe.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.